What's up to whoever is watching this? And for this video, I wanted to talk about just doing high reps for your lower body, since of course that's what I'm doing in this video. And I think doing high reps, mixing in high reps, especially if you are doing maybe some type of like weighted work, like if you're doing deadlifts and squats with a barbell, mixing in higher reps is a good way to kind of mix up your training and make it seem new and make it seem still enjoyable. Um, High reps are definitely a challenge, right? Trying to do 100 lunges and 100 squats in a row is very hard. It really puts a tax on your endurance and your mental endurance and capacity. Your cardiovascular system, I would say, is definitely getting worked. I definitely felt me breathing heavy later on. Felt my heart pumping. Kind of feels like as if I was just got through running or something like that, right? Especially if I push it really hard and try and go all out. But back to what I said about these being mentally enduring, they are a struggle to get through. Even if you have the muscular endurance, even if you have the capacity to do so, it's just feeling that constant pain and tension on the muscle and just the blood rushing there, and it's like everything in your body's telling you, you don't have to keep doing this. You can just stop. You can just stop right now and everything will be fine. But you have to be able to push through, right? You have to try and, I say, talk yourself through it. Just be like, okay, I just did 50. I only got 50 more. I just did this much. I did this much. I have this much left. Just kind of getting yourself through it, because these are hard, right? These are definitely hard, but you can definitely get used to them, because I've seen some people be able to do, 100 squats every single day, 200 squats every single day. Some of them do those types of works all in one set, right? All in one, max capacity set, where they get all the way to 200. There's this YouTuber named K Bogues, where I think it was like 253 squats in like one set, which is insane to me right now. But I'm pretty sure if you are just work up to it over years, then it'll definitely come to you. And another thing is that be careful as a beginner, or just be careful in general. Since it's very high reps, you can be prone to cramping. Let's say after you finish. So make sure you just stretch really well before and after, and make sure you drink enough water and get enough like food with protein in it. So therefore you won't be waking up in the middle of the night to cramps or having cramps later on in the day. And for beginners, you want to break these up into sets most likely. If you basically almost never train your legs whatsoever, you're gonna find that you might not even be able to do anything past like 30 efficiently, or maybe even 20 efficiently, depending on if you were very sedentary or not before training. So you might want to break up, let's say, 100 into 5 sets of 25, right? You might want to maybe even do less than that. Maybe you just want to do 3 sets of 30, which is what is that, like 90? So just be careful, go at your own pace and build up to it, right? If you want to do excruciating painful exercises in the hot sun, where you're getting bit by mosquitoes, and every breath you take is filled in with hot air because it's so hot, and you have sweat going down your back and over your face and into your eyes, then just make sure you work up to that, right? Make sure you work up to that, because it's pretty difficult. It is pretty difficult. And another thing with the high reps, the reps are high the way they are due to the stimulus we get from our legs being very different from our upper body. Our upper body can get a lot of stimulus just from little to like just a very small amount of reps to a very high amount. But when it comes to our lower body, especially if we're not adding weight, we need to do higher reps, right? You're not going to get away with only doing 30 squats, unless you're a complete beginner, like you're an actual baby or something like that, who's never developed your leg muscles. But the reason why they're so high is because it's going to actually give a stimulus within your legs. Unlike, let's say, a barbell squat that is maybe 10, 8, maybe even 5 reps, right? This way it can be just almost, I say almost comparable. I have heard stuff where results from doing squats with a bar for leg size specifically is a lot more beneficial than doing, high rep squats. But again, like how I was saying earlier, you should still mix things up. You should still try and do, very high reps. Another thing with high reps is that when I did high rep squats, these are Hindu squats right here that I'm doing. But when I did high rep squats, it actually helped with my mobility with regular barbell squats and my knee health. I remember I would do heavy barbell squats twice a week or once a week, and my knees would just get beat up so bad that it was just kind of like, why am I doing this movement if I can feel my knees more than my quads? But then, for a month, I think it was about 5 weeks, I just did nothing but body weight squats, like Hindu squats, regular squats, things like that, lunges, and my knee health was amazing. When I went back to doing barbell squats, I didn't feel my knees like ache or anything like that whatsoever, even when I was doing over 200 pounds on the bar. Doing high reps like these also just kind of make me feel like a badass. Like I'm like Saitama doing like 100 squats, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, stuff like that. Um, I think it's just a cool thing, right? You might think barbell squatting is cool. I also think that's pretty cool. But just being able to put myself through something that is, well, kind of short, but in my mind it feels like it is gonna take forever, right? Like this video clip of me doing these squats is only 6 minutes long, but I felt like I was there for like 20, 30 minutes or something like that, right? Even though doing barbell squats, just 3 sets of barbell squats kind of takes longer than doing 100, 120, Hindu squats. But it's just the mental struggle that I'm going through where it's like every single rep past like rep 30 just feels almost excruciating, and my body wants to jump out of place and just crawl back into the house, without even no questions asked or whatever. But telling myself no and that I have to keep going, I have to keep pushing, is something that just kind of lights me up, puts a fire in my belly, gets me going, gets me ready for the rest of the day, knowing that I was able to, mentally endure something that is challenging, right? Most people will not, just most people just won't do this, right? I had a friend, we were doing 30 down squats. It was me and a couple other friends. And one of the friends, I think we got to maybe halfway, and halfway there he just couldn't, he didn't want to keep going, he just stopped. And it kind of did slow us down, but I was understanding that, like, okay, he can't, right? I mean, one, he was a bigger guy, so it probably didn't help that he kind of had to technically squat a lot more weight, and then he also doesn't train his legs as often, so those two things definitely didn't help. But just kind of, and then kind of seeing how I perform compared to how others perform, right? Like how sometimes, to me, it seems what I'm doing is so hard. It seems like, I feel so weak, I feel so small, I'm not doing much. But then, maybe I have less experienced friends or people that are just not experienced at all that I know, and they try and do something that I do or that I was doing, and seeing how hard it was for them, it kind of lets me know how much I've come, right? I've come a pretty long way. It lets me know that, like, kind of where I am, at least physically, compared to, I guess, the average person, since the average person doesn't regularly work out. and it lets me know that I'm doing good, right? I'm doing good. I've dedicated and I've dedicated myself to something, and I've stuck to it, and it shows, right? It's been about 2 years, and it shows. You can see it in my dedication. You can see it in the faces that I make. You could see it in even my physique. I hope that my legs look big, and you can see my core. You can see my chest. You can see like how everything I've put a dedication into just building myself up, building up myself physically, and also it's just been a journey of just trying different things, trying to see what works, and what works for me right now is doing all of these crazy high rep calisthenics exercises because they just seem the most fun. Goodbye.